Hello and welcome to another video from Sustenance and Cover, the only YouTube channel you need to not only survive the current apocalypse, but actually enjoy it. And today we're going to be talking about sunchokes as a survival food in your garden. A sunchoke, also known as a Jerusalem artichoke, is this, or at least that's the root of it. Even though they're called a Jerusalem artichoke, they're actually a native species of the southeastern United States, and if you live in the southeastern United States and you plant these, they can actually become a weed. Now, wouldn't it be nice to have a yard full of weeds that when no more grocery stores are open, you can just go get you something out of your yard? Alright, I got a few little notes here because I've done made this a couple of times and left a few things out, but anyways, this bucket here is 20 pounds. That is 20 pounds. We got this 20 pounds just now out of this 4-foot by 4-foot box of dirt. You may recognize this as a square foot garden. I do not endorse square foot garden book, however I do check back with it from time to time. Problem I have with square foot garden book is it talks about every kind of plant you can imagine growing perfectly in a square foot garden with just a little bit of compost every now and then. That is not true. If you were to grow an Irish potato here, you would have to make this dirt Irish dirt, because that potato wants to be in Ireland growing, does not want to be here in the United States. You may luck out, it may grow for you. But the square foot garden book says simply throw a little compost on it and you'll get you some potatoes, and I find that to be totally untrue. This, being a native species, not of Ireland, but of the southeastern United States, will just grow and grow and grow. And in fact, this bed was not planted last year. I planted this bed 2 years ago. Last year harvested everything out of it, thought I got every bit of it, and yet this came back just from the little bitty pieces that I had left in there. Now, the way you plant it to start with, if you look at this, each one of these little dots on here is an eye, just like a potato. As long as you have one dot, you can grow one plant. Literally, this will grow this whole 4-foot by 4-foot bed and produce that much roots. Reasonably, because I don't depend on that, I'll break like this whole part off and stick it in there, and that's 8 or 9 eyes on there. But in any case, let's look at my list, make sure I ain't missing anything. Oh, the way you plant them, if you look over here, I've got this one gridded like a 4-square-foot garden. These Jerusalem artichokes should probably, and I've always, when I did plant them, just plant one in the middle of each one of these, because a Jerusalem artichoke pretty much needs 1 square foot of growing space, and these squares are 12 by 12. That's 1 square foot. You don't have to replant them. I already said that. As far as storage goes, where do you store these?
In the ground.
That's right. Just don't dig them up. When you want something to eat, you dig them up. If you don't want something to eat, you don't dig them up. They're there all the time. These things, it says to harvest them like in August, and this is, what is this, February? September, October, November, December. That's 6 months down the road. We digging this stuff up. Looks like it was just you know, whatever, this is the time to dig them up, whether it says so or not. They and they're delicious. You can eat them raw. I spit the dirt out, but you can cook them. Just a little bitty handful of these and a squirrel and a pot of water, make a soup that'll keep 2 people alive, sustained for the whole day, because this does have the nutrition of a potato. Fertilizer, don't need this. I've never fertilized this other than to put a little compost down. I would suspect that if you just had you a pile of leaves out in the woods somewhere and turned them regularly, add a little chicken manure or whatever, you could fertilize this with a handful of compost. Do just fine. Another benefit of this, if you look around, now I've got 25 of these growing beds. Let's see if this is, I think this is okra. But several of these are okra, several of them are sunchokes. Right now they just look like sticks. Nobody's going to say, hey, there's some food in that man's yard. When it's summertime, they look like
daisies.
Daisies, yeah, the flower looks like a daisy, but the plant looks like a sunflower. Even if somebody thinks you got sunflowers and they come over here, once they see them little flower heads with no seeds, they're not going to even have any idea you're growing food. So people will leave this alone. I have a feeling that if you had a regular garden with identifiable plants, people would come over here and kill you in about a minute to get your food. All right. All right, I got here, wrote down that variety is the spice of life. I am talking about planting nothing but sunchokes and getting 500 pounds out of here. You don't have to do that. I think it would be wise to have as much as possible, and this is the reason. When you hear of something called a staple food, what that means is the food that all of your meals have to be based on. Because cucumber, if you look it up, what's a cucumber got? 1 calorie? You know, these are calorie dense, just like a potato. You can live off of that. Even though variety is the spice of life, carbohydrates and water are life. You know? You understand what I'm saying? That sounds reasonable. So anyways, there you go. Sunchokes, Jerusalem artichokes. If you're in the deep south or southeastern United States, in fact, you're really not supposed to even be able to grow them this far down. But they just take off because this is where they belong, this part of the world. Don't turn off yet. Love ya.
Bye.